Christopher E. Dunphy was born August 30th, 1964, in a town called Boston. He attended Boston College High School. In his junior year, he realized that flying was his dream. In order to pursue it, he joined the Navy Prep School and graduated in 1983. Chris continued on to the Naval Academy, where he graduated in 1987.
All men are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights: life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness. That's why we're out here, and that's what we fight to protect.
Operation Iraqi Freedom began on March 20, 2003, under the suspicion that the Iraqi government was concealing weapons of mass destruction. Saddam Hussein allowed the United Nations Monitoring, Verification, and Inspection Commission to check for nuclear warheads or signs of their production. No weapons were found, but other suspicious activities and evidence was observed. Evidence showed that Hussein was supporting a terrorist group known as Al-Qaeda, which was responsible for the 9/11 terrorist attacks. We also had reason to believe that he was oppressing citizens and killing them off by the hundreds. After Hussein refused to heed the warnings issued by the United Nations, America led a coalition force to invade Iraq. The goal of Operation Iraqi Freedom was simple. We wanted to liberate its people and spread democracy and send a message that the world will not tolerate threats to humanity or democracy.
Operation Iraqi Freedom had a few objectives. The first and most important was to end the oppressive reign of Saddam Hussein. The second goal was to eliminate Iraq's WMD production. The military's primary responsibility during these missions was to find and take away weapons so that they can be destroyed. Another important goal of Operation Iraqi Freedom was to capture and drive out terrorists. From the start, the military wanted to destroy the terrorist infrastructure in Iraq. Along with this, providing humanitarian relief was a key effort. A long-term goal was to set up a sustaining government for the people.
The U.S. Navy conducted many different operations in this conflict. Navy missiles took out the majority of enemy tanks, bunkers, AA positions, and communication posts. Reconnaissance missions were an important responsibility for the Navy pilots as well. They often patrolled in a radius around the ship, but flying inland to gather information was not uncommon.
Rescue primarily around the carrier. Something happens, somebody falls off the ship, or one of the planes around the ship, we fly with two rescue swimmers. You know, one's always what they call dressed out. He's in his wetsuit, ready to go. Put him in the water to save a pilot who now you get second zone outside that of somebody's lost, ship didn't come back. So now it becomes more search than rescue. So how do we find them?
Another duty of the helicopter pilot was deployment missions. This meant that the pilot had to fly fast and low to avoid enemy radar and AA fire. When Navy SEALs are deployed at their LZ, they conduct their operations for days, oftentimes carrying up to 400 pounds of gear. The soldiers did a variety of missions, everything from neutralizing high-value targets, collecting intel, carrying out peacekeeping patrols, or patrols to meet with their village elders. Their overlying goal was to gain peace and control, destroy terrorist cells, and restore order for the people.
And a rubber duck was, we would actually have a partially inflated boat underneath the helicopter, and we would get down low and we would drop the boat, release the boat, and they would be able to inflate it, and then we would drop them in front of it, and then it would swim back, get in it, and they would take the boat had a two outboard supercharged motors, and all of a sudden they were just like zooming in. But
Pilots have to make split-second decisions that can affect the very outcome of the war. To prepare for this, training is implemented for almost all aspects of the life of a pilot. Becoming a Navy pilot requires a lot of determination and perseverance. Pilots go through multiple levels of cognitive training and testing. This helps them handle the calculations required to fly an aircraft. There's also extreme vigors and physical stress that the pilots go under during flying. To help with this, they go through a lot of physical conditioning and training. In the end, only the smartest, strongest pilots gain the honor of flying in action. As leaders of the major terrorist groups were gradually neutralized, resistance within Iraq dissipated, marking the end of combat in Operation Iraqi Freedom. The focus now shifted to Operation New Dawn. The primary goal is maintaining stability and ensuring a sovereign government for the people. Soldiers acted more like a police force, conducting subtle patrols and training native Iraqi units. U.S. forces will be present in the country and will aid in rebuilding and other post-war efforts. Despite the chaos and bloodshed that plagued the nation for over a decade, Iraq is turning towards a bright and prosperous future, one that includes a friendly relationship with the United States.